Welcome everyone who's not in the audience. It is very odd for me again to be in an empty auditorium with the exception of two wonderful people who are helping with this, filming. I hope that everyone at home is safe and healthy and calm during these stay-at-home odd times that we're in. My name's Eric Conklin. This is the second part of the Mindfulness for Stress Reduction that the City of Carlsbad Library staff has invited me to come in to share with you at home, through your television, through the internet, through your phone, however you're watching this. I hope that this helps a little bit kind of reframe what we're going through and calm things down a little bit for you. One of the things that I covered last time was a long introduction of all the people in the city that I had called and gathered some research about what they were experiencing. I'm not going to cover all of that in this. If you want to see that again, you can look at that last video I did, about the first 10 minutes of that. Also, I'm not going to be covering the research behind what I'm having us go through here today, because that's on my website, and if you want to go to ericconklin.com, click the resources page, it's all there for free. You can take a peek at it. The practice that I did last time at the beginning was breath practice, which is helping us really get focused on just being in the moment. And one of the delightful things about breath practice is you have breathing with you pretty much wherever you are. So if you're standing in line at the post office, at least 6 feet away from each other right now. If you're at the grocery store, at least 6 feet away from each other and going down the one-way aisles, you can always come back to your breath to help yourself kind of settle into what you're experiencing and calm down a little bit. Last time we did about 3 minutes, and this time we're going to go a little bit longer for that. So to start this, before I launch into the other exercises, I invite you to find a comfortable seated position, kind of neutral, where you're not too comfortable and you're not tight trying to hold yourself up. And I'd like you to close your eyes if you're comfortable with that. Usually I say something witty and charming like, I'm not going to come take your money out of your purse or something like that, but I'm not going to say something funny like that. Just have a seat, close your eyes. I'm going to walk you through a little breath focus practice. To begin with, we're going to do what we call 3 cleansing breaths, which is a inhalation through your nose for about 3 seconds, and then a 1-second pause, and then exhaling through your mouth for about 6 to 9 seconds, whatever's comfortable for you. And then about a 1-second pause, and repeating again that 3-second inhale through the nose, about a 1-second pause, about 6 to 9 seconds exhale through the mouth, nice and easy, and then a 1-second pause. And then one more time, in through the nose for about 3 seconds, that 1-second pause, and then about 6 to 9 seconds of an exhale. And then let your breathing find its own natural rhythm. Trying to keep that focus on what it feels like to have the breath moving in and moving out. And almost inevitably, the mind will start to wander. Be gentle with it. Bring that attention back to the breath, moving in and moving out. And if you need to readjust yourself, check in with your hips, check in with your back and your neck. See if you need to adjust, find a little bit more of a comfortable position. And bring that attention back to the breath, moving in, to the breath moving out. And again, inevitably, that mind is going to start to wander, thinking about the past, thinking about the future, questioning something about right now. Try and gently bring that back to this is the in breath, this is the out breath. You can think all those things later when we're done with this. In breath, out breath. Again, if that mind starts to wander, come back to the breath. Connect with that air moving in and moving out. And again, come back to the breath, moving in, moving out. And when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. And we'll kind of virtually come back together as a group of individuals watching this. When I use the term mindfulness in the title, what I'm referring to is paying attention with non-judgment to present circumstances, both internally and externally, of what's actually happening in the moment, with like a openness and a curiosity, almost like a scientist would look at something objectively. What's happening right now? Oh, I'm really happy. What's happening right now? Oh, I'm really sad. Oh, what's happening right now? I'm nervous, I'm tight, I'm apprehensive. Or joyful. But it's acknowledging what's happening right now without saying it's right or it's wrong, applying those kinds of judgments to it. The metaphor that I like to use with this is mindfulness is like a flashlight. It doesn't change the nature of whatever it shines on, it lets you see it more clearly. And like if you had a new puppy and you went out for the evening and you came back and the room is dark and you smell something that doesn't smell particularly wonderful and the puppy left you a little present, you turning on the lights or shining a flashlight doesn't change the nature of that. It just means now you can see it clearly to clean it up. In the same way that a rose smelling isn't going to smell more pungent if you shine the flashlight on it. You can just see it clearly now, what it is. For what I'm talking about today, again, the research is on my website. You can look there under resources. It's free if you want to go deeper into the science. And right now, this is called Mindfulness for Stress Reduction Part 2, but not everybody's stressed. And I really want to calibrate with everybody out there. It's okay to not be stressed. It's okay to be feeling joy because you're spending quality time with your family. It's okay to be feeling joy because you're helping other people. It's okay to be feeling joy because you're safe at home. You have a telephone, you can call people. You can write letters, you can email people. You can wave to your neighbor through the window. You can look at the grass, you can look at the flowers, you can play with your dog. Whatever you may be enjoying, enjoy it fully. No one's saying you have to be stressed, and if you're not, fantastic. Keep doing that. You have no obligation to feel stress. However, do respect that other people may be feeling very stressed right now. So if you're out and about getting your groceries, be a little extra nice. Other people may not be in such a safe space as you. They may be at risk of getting more sick. They may have people that are sick that they're caring for, and we don't know what's going on with each other. So err on the side of more nice than more upset. When you are stressed, however, generally it will show up clearly in the body somewhere. The stress communicates through the physical nature of our being. And so if you were in the audience right here, I'd ask you, where do you feel stress in your body? A lot of times I get the neck and the shoulders. A lot of times I get the lower back in response. A lot of times I get stomach, which is mine. I said this in the last video. Mine is the stomach. When I get really stressed, my stomach hurts. And paying attention to that is like paying attention to a barometer with the weather. If the pressure's low, if the pressure's high, you can kind of predict what's coming. So if my stomach starts hurting, I can pretty much predict that my mind is not thinking real clearly, because we don't think best when we're stressed. And mindfulness practices are not for everybody, and they're not to address level 10. If we were to take our stress and gauge it from a 0, meaning I'm happy and joyful and scot-free and everything's wonderful, and a 10 being code red, I need assistance right now and it's an emergency, these practices are not for level 10. That's stop watching this, dial 911, explain what's happening, and get the assistance that you need there. The City of Carlsbad website has a lot of fantastic resources. Manager Chadwick sends out a once-a-week email. You can access that. It's a fantastic, warm, but direct and clearly communicating email that explains kind of the status of what we're doing as far as the city in response. Again, I'm not here to solve level 10 situations. I'm here to address maybe a level 7, 8, and bring that back down to like a 4 or 5 so that we think clearer. We can kind of drop some of the stress away, and we can be the best version of ourselves that we can access, where we think a little bit clearer, our memory is a little bit better. A quick review of the last video that I put together was we reviewed practicing catching yourself, just noticing without judging. I notice that I'm getting upset. I notice that I'm getting frustrated. I notice that I'm running into a situation a little hot-headed. And we talked about the STOP exercise, S-T-O-P. S standing for stop doing whatever you're doing. T standing for take a breath, 3 seconds in, 6 to 9 seconds out. The O is observe what's going on internally and externally. And then P stands for proceed with your intentions in mind. What's the point of what you're about to do? Is it hurtful? Is it helpful? Check in with yourself before you move forward. The second exercise we did was reframing. And I laid out a series of questions about, do I need to be feeling stress right now? Is my level of response appropriate to what the level of the stimuli was? Reframing. And then the third exercise was the just like me, which is thinking about a few people in your life, someone very close to you, you have a simple, loving relationship, someone that you don't know that well, but you've seen quite a bit, maybe a grocery store worker, maybe garbage collector, and then someone you met one time out there in the world. And repeating the phrase, just like me, this person wants to feel safe. Just like me, this person wants to feel love. Just like me, this person wants to avoid suffering. And so the fourth one was paying attention to your environment and choosing when and where you decided to pay attention to the news, to pay attention to your neighbors, to pay attention to family issues, and when you could turn that off and turn that back on to help you moderate and manage when you were being exposed to potentially stressful situations. So, today what I would like to talk about is focus. And mindfulness, as you could tell through that breathing exercise we did, is about a lot of focus, and it's practicing focus. And every student in every school ever has had some teacher, most likely, say to them, focus, focus, focus. Very few educators actually teach how to focus. What is the skill set? What does that look like? If I'm looking at one thing, does that mean I'm focused? Because I can be looking at something and my mind is a million miles away. So how do I get my body and my mind absolutely in harmony with focus? And we're going to focus on that a little bit today. So 3 questions we're going to be addressing. Where do you choose to put your focus is number 1. How clear is your focus? And number 3, how deep is your focus? So the first question, where do you choose to focus? Where you focus tends to be where our energy goes. Wherever we're looking, whatever we're focusing on, that's where we go. I am a avid cyclist, not very fast, not very strong at it, but I love it. And you can see even by my face mask, which I did bring my handy wipes and my face mask, my friends Sam and Raleigh gave me a little bicycle chain face mask, so I love that. So I'm an avid cyclist, and when I'm mountain biking, not now because the trails are locked down, some of them still, but when they're open and I'm mountain biking, and I'm taking the front wheel and placing it where I want it to go, when I look at a rock in the middle of the trail or off to the side, and I say to myself, don't hit the rock, don't hit the rock, don't hit the rock, where do you think my front tire goes? Yes, I'm assuming you said the rock. It goes straight to the rock because all my brain is hearing is the rock, the rock, the rock. So it doesn't hear the negative don't hit the, it just hears rock. That's what our attention is like. So if you think don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, you may find that you're getting a pattern of behavior that you're actually doing what you're telling yourself not to do. So look at the open spot in the trail. For me, look at the open spot in the trail. That's where my front tire goes. Look at the rock. That's where my front tire goes. So wherever our vision goes and focuses, that's where our front tire is going to go. So Who are you letting control where your front tire goes? Are you taking responsibility for it, or are you saying it's someone else? Someone else bumped my handlebars and made my front tire go someplace. Or are you yielding power to other people so that your focus goes someplace? Are you being hijacked by allowing yourself to be hijacked of where your focus goes? So pick the 3 things in life that are most important to you and try and keep your focus on that big picture. And then on the daily level, you can ride, in my world, you can ride a bike and know there are rocks in the trail. That doesn't mean I have to look at them. I'm not pretending they're not there, just ignoring them. They have nothing to do with where I want my path to go. So for you, where do you want your path to go? Focus on that. So I want to experience my ride without hitting rocks. That's why I choose to focus on that. A lot of our life satisfaction is tied into where we choose to focus. So if you're paying attention to bad news, advertisements, people selling you things all the time, you're going to have your defenses up quite a bit. And even if that you don't think that manifests out there in the world, it manifests in here, in your head, in your heart a lot of the time. So you have to choose what you're looking at. So right now, we may be telling ourselves, don't be stressed, don't be stressed, don't be stressed. That's not going to work. For the most part, what's going to work is choose to be focused on my breath. Choose to be focused on my family and those activities. Stress may bubble up, but if you try and force it back down and say, don't be stressed, that's not going to work. Most of us have been in a situation in the world where someone's been having a fit, a tantrum, perhaps it's a child, perhaps it's an adult, and someone will, in a very well-intentioned way, walk up and say, you need to calm down right now. I've never seen that be effective. Maybe you have, but I've never seen that. So focusing on you need to calm down doesn't necessarily help. Giving someone the tool to calm down helps. So I'm hoping the focus tool that I'm about to introduce you to will help. So the focus practice we're going to do right now is going to require you to be seated again. So I'm going to sit down. And then it's also going to require you to close your eyes. If you don't want to close your eyes for any particular reason, that's okay. I want you to be comfortable. But again, my joke I'm not going to make is I'm not going to come through the lens and grab your wallet. And even if I did, I only take cash, so your credit cards are safe. I'm kidding. So I invite you to take a neutrally seated position. Close your eyes. Again, take an in-breath through your nose for 3 seconds. Take that 1 second pause. And then nice and gentle through your mouth, a 6 to 9 second exhalation. And then just let your breathing find its own natural rhythm. Bringing the mind to the in-breath and the out-breath. Now we're going to practice listening very, very deeply. So if you would, listen to your left and see how deeply you can hear everything to your left. And it may be quiet. You may hear the hum of air conditioning or a car. And as you're listening left, see what happens when you slightly move your ear in a slightly different position, very slowly. See if you hear something different. Now let's bring our attention to listening to the right. How deeply can you listen to all the sounds coming from the right side? And if you hear a sound, try to notice if you assign a story or a value or a judgment, or if you can just listen without telling yourself anything about it. Just notice the sound. Now let's shift our listening to behind us. How far back can you listen? And are you getting any mind chatter about this exercise, about the sounds? Can you bring your focus back to just listening deeply? And now shift your listening to up. Is there any noise coming from the building above you or the sky above you? And again, notice if there's judgment, evaluation, or criticism, and try and set that aside. Now try and listen internal. Can you hear your pulse in your ears? Can you hear your lunch processing? How deeply internal can you listen? And when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. The application for this deep listening in interpersonal relationships, relationship with ourselves and others. In relationships, do we actually truly listen? And only you have the answer to that. Do we listen fully and deeply to what's happening? The way the other person is speaking, the words that they're using, their body language, their eyes, their head, everything about how they're speaking to us. Are we listening to absorb what they're saying, or are we sitting there waiting to talk? And by doing this listening practice, it helps us get in tune with ourself when our mind gets hijacked by thoughts, responses, an argument, a back and forth, if each moment, if each one of our responses to what the other person has said is deeply anchored in what they've said, we can get to the reality of what's happening much faster with much less stress. And so when our mind wanders, when someone's speaking to us, we can't hear what they're saying. So if we're multitasking on these lovely, useful devices that most of us have in our pocket now, if we're focusing on that and half listening to what someone we care about is saying, or someone we don't care about is saying, what are we communicating by having 50% of our attention here and 50% on them? What are we communicating when in our minds, when our response hijacks our listening ability and someone is saying something to us and I'm not sitting there absorbing what they're saying, I'm just sitting waiting to talk. I'll be quiet. When you say your piece, then I'm going to lob what I have to say at you. That's not listening. And that's generally not truly effective communication. And generally that doesn't foster trust in a relationship. So something we can do all the time is practice listening. And we don't need to be weird about it. If we're standing in line against 6 feet apart from the post office, we can take a breath and see how far off to the left I can hear. It's a mother and daughter interacting with each other. Whether it's right or wrong is irrelevant. I'm just hearing them interacting. Off to my right, I hear a couple talking about if they're going to renew their post office box. In front of me, I hear people working in the back sorting my papers, other people's papers, letters, gifts, things. And I can just note behind me the doors opening and closing. And even if I don't like the sound, I can practice just noticing the sound. The door squeaks when it opens and closes. That's it. I don't need to say, they should oil that. I would never let a door of mine squeak. If I'm sitting in my house and I'm practicing this, off to my left, I hear the hum of the refrigerator. Just humming. Off to my right, I hear my dogs wrestling. In front of me, I hear an indoor bicycle trainer going. Behind me, I hear a truck driving by on the road and backfire. My practice is to not judge the backfire and say, why can't that person tune up their truck? I would never let my car get in that. That's my mind getting hijacked when I'm practicing. Now, getting the truck tuned up or oiling the door that squeaks is very important work that at some point needs to be done. But when I'm practicing listening and paying attention, I don't need to let my mind run down that path of evaluation and judgment. I can just practice sitting where I am and listening carefully. So, we can miss a lot when we're not practiced at listening. So that's our first exercise. The next exercise is how deep is our focus? And we're going to do a little gratitude practice with this. So again, if you're not sitting, if you got up or whatnot, I invite you to sit back down. Again, in a neutral position where you're not going to fall asleep, but you're not rigid and tight. Adjust your hips or neck or back or whatever you need to do. And this gratitude practice has to do with someone that has done something for you. So again, I invite you to close your eyes. We'll take that 3 seconds breath in through the nose, a 1 second pause, and then 6 to 9 seconds of exhale, or whatever's comfortable for you. And then let your breathing find its own natural rhythm. I'd like you to bring to your mind a family member or maybe a pet that you had a very uncomplicated, loving relationship with, either now or in the past. And bring an image or a moment of that person or that pet as clear as you can remember. 1 . And try and think of a situation you were in where you felt something clearly positive towards this person or animal. Try and remember how you felt at that moment when you were touched by something that person said or did or that animal did. And how did you feel at that moment? Can you bring that warm feeling back right now? How is your life better because that person or animal was or is in it? And again, how do you feel right now thinking about that person or animal? And if you could take whatever you're feeling, I will call it love, you can call it warmth or connection, whatever works for you. If you could somehow communicate that to that person, the pureness of what you're feeling, what would you want them to know? What would you want that person or that animal to know about how you feel towards them? I invite you to take another 3-second breath in through your nose. Take that 1-second pause. And an exhale through the mouth for about 6 to 9 seconds or whatever's comfortable for you. And I'd like you to envision a friend that you see infrequently. And if you can't think of that, a family member that you really enjoy that you see infrequently. Bring an image of them into your mind's awareness. And think of a situation where you clearly felt something positive for this person. You can call it happiness, joy, love, whatever term works for you. Try and really connect with that feeling that you felt at that moment. And consider the question, how is your life better because that person was or is in it? And how do you feel right now being in touch with that connection, that joy, love, intimacy, whatever it was or is? Can you really get in touch with that feeling? And what would you want to communicate to that person? What would you want to share with them to let them know exactly how you feel or felt at that time? I invite you to take another deep breath in for 3 seconds. Take that 1-second pause, and then exhale for about 6 to 9 seconds, whatever's comfortable for you. Try and bring to your mind a teacher, a police officer, a doctor or a nurse that you have met that helped you. Bring an image of them into your mind's awareness And bring to your mind, if you can, a situation where you felt something very positive for this person. Try and remember how you felt at that moment when you realized what a positive effect they were having immediately or long term for you. How is your life better because that person was or is in it? And how do you feel right now thinking about that person? Can you recreate, get in touch with, tap back into that feeling of warmth or joy or consideration for that person? And if you were going to communicate with that person, what would you tell them? What would you share with them about the positive thing in your life that they helped with? Or things if there's more than one. And again, I invite you to take a 3-second in breath. That slight pause for a second, and then a 6 to 9 second exhale. I'd like you to bring to your mind as best you can kind of an abstract or a concrete, if you can, someone in the military or the police, someone doing garbage removal, someone working mail service, someone working in a grocery store. And bring an image to that of that person the best you can into your mind's awareness. And think of a situation in your life where one of those people in one of those roles has done something for you, even though you may have never met them. Your garbage gets removed, your mail gets delivered, there are people protecting you. Think of a situation where you felt something positive for that person or those people doing those jobs. And it may be right now is the first time you've thought of it. And how did you feel at that moment when you realized someone was doing something for you without ever having met you? Or how do you feel right now about that? Can you stay in touch with the gratitude of the people working for you? Consider how your life is better because these people that have never met you are doing their jobs. And if you could communicate to that person or those people, what would you want them to know about your appreciation? And when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. A lot of our life is made significantly better by looking out to other people, by looking out for other people, by looking out to other people. There's this myth in American culture that we're also independent, and not everybody subscribes to that. Some people understand that we're interdependent. And when you really start looking at each one of our lives, we really rely on other people to a great degree. Every once in a while, you get somebody at the end of the bell curve who is completely independent. I've never met anyone like that. I'm certain they exist. When we look with appreciation to other people, either helping them do their job better, assisting them somehow, our stress level gets lower the more we focus on other people. That's not to say ignoring what you need is healthy, but looking to other people once you have what you need is very, very beneficial and can lower the stress response in your body. And that doesn't mean you need to leave your house during the stay-at-home situation that we're in. That means just even wishing them well does good for you mentally and physically. Again, if you want to see the research on this, it's on the website. So even wishing them well helps you. And after this video is done, or if you're watching this online, you want to pause, make some notes about what you just experienced in the past 10 minutes. Make some notes so you remember next time I see that person, or for the homework that you're going to have in a few minutes. Looking out for others can include just sharing your gratitude and just communicating. For now, though, we're going to turn our focus inwards. We just focused way outwards in appreciation and taking in and remembering. Now we're going to focus inwards. And again, if you're not sitting, please do sit. Again, close your eyes. In that neutral position that's comfortable. And again, breathe in for 3 seconds. Take a 1 second pause, and then exhale for about 6 to 9 seconds. And again, trying to keep the monkey mind from jumping all over the place, try and focus on exactly what my question is and staying with just that thought in your response. Think about something in yourself, your personality, that you really like. Something you do well, or a quality of character, a habit you have. Think of something about yourself you really like. And feel the joy of how wonderful it is that that's a part of you. And express an internal thank you to yourself. Good job. Some appreciation for who you are. Think of a situation where you saw that habit, that pattern, that belief, that quality of character manifest itself. It may have been a simple situation, it may have been a complicated situation, but you clearly are wonderful for that aspect of yourself. Now again, 3 seconds in breath through the nose. 1 second pause. And 6 to 9 second exhale. And think of a second aspect of yourself that you really like. Again, a quality of character, a behavior trait, a way of being or operating. And bring to mind a time when that quality of character or that aspect, that behavior showed itself. And feel the gratitude. Thank goodness that's a part of me. And keep that mind on gratitude. Thank goodness that is a part of me. And again, express an internal thank you to yourself. You did that. Acknowledge it. And when you're ready, open your eyes again. Where we choose to focus, as I said earlier, really has a strong determination of how joyful we feel. If we look at everything that's going wrong, it's very easy to see things going wrong. But if we exclusively look at what's going wrong, it can really start to affect us in ways that are not helpful. Please pay attention to your exposure, what you're choosing to set your mind on, what you're choosing to ingest by ways of news, by ways of gossip. You're allowed to step away. You're allowed to turn things off. You're allowed to excuse yourself from situations that are not healthy for you. And limiting your exposure in healthy amounts can be very, very helpful for that. Practice really intentional media consumption. There's a lot of good information coming through different media channels. After a certain point, you really don't need to know the rest of it. It's just kind of repeating and getting ramped up in your mind, or can. Turn off your exposure for a period of time that you decide, and notice feelings that are arising when you limit your exposure. When you're exposed a lot, notice those feelings that come up. Notice what's happening in your heart with gratitude, in your mind, tightness of body. When you start limiting your exposure, notice what's happening in your heart with gratitude, in your mind. So these exercises from our time here today, choosing where you place your focus, where do you put your front wheel? Is it towards the rock or towards the clear spot? How clear is your focus? We did a breathing practice to help settle the mind. We did a listening practice to help focus. How deep are we actually taking information in versus judging it right and wrong? And who controls your focus? Exposure to the media, political sales pitches. Once you get all that information in there, it's hard to clarify exactly how you feel based on reality. One of my favorite bumper stickers I've ever seen is "Don't believe everything you think." So the last bit is homework. This gratitude practice. We did a gratitude exercise, both the internal gratitude for ourselves and the external gratitude for other people. So your homework, and I expect you to get this done, is gratitude expression. I invite you to call or write a letter, not text. 3 people expressing your deepest gratitude for what they've done for you. Be specific with what they did and what kind of an impression it made on you. Perhaps it was so powerful that it became a part of your personality. Perhaps it was a one-time gesture that helped you out of a situation. Perhaps it was something very simple and straightforward that just touched you. It doesn't matter the significance of the act to the rest of us. What matters is the significance of the act to you. So, you're not looking for them to be effusively thankful back for the letter. You're looking to get in touch with what's going on in here, putting that down on paper, or sending that through your voice, through the phone, to 3 people. Right now, as I get ready to part with our time together, I want to re-encourage you to be more kind than less kind right now. Practice responding with kindness. Sometimes it doesn't come right away. We need to practice. So pause before you respond with a sharp comment. Pause before you wave inappropriately in the car. Pause before you react. And choose kindness as your response instead of whatever your reaction might have been. Take care of each other and yourself. I hope to see you soon out there on the trails, in the parks, when it's appropriate, and from a little distance away. And thank you. I miss seeing everyone in here. I hope to see you again soon. Take care.